Hey guys, welcome back to the Spillway. It's been a week or so, but we're back at it. We're rolling and we ain't going anywhere.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. My name is Aaron.
My name is Zach.
And we are here today to discuss finding joy in our sorrow.
Which is dang near impossible. It's possible, but it's very complicated.
It takes time, it seems, and I think we always look for that immediate joy or that immediate comfort from it. But when you live life and your experiences build up to a certain moment, it always seems like the older you get, because then you sit and think, oh, boy, I put all my life into this, in the past 20 years into this, and where's the buyout? And, especially when you get used to that, especially if it's a long period of time, it's something you've been clinging on to, or it's I'm trying to think, you live your life a certain way for so long, and then all of a sudden comes in and changes it.
Change is scary.
It's very scary, and you can't control or do a damn thing about it.
Right.
And I think, I'm just trying to think of some examples,
Changing a complete career shift.
A career change would
Not
be
even
a good one.
change, just shift. Just going from
a
banker to a restaurant owner. Or something, right? Or going from an attorney to what would be something completely like left field and not even in the same realm as an attorney. I'm drawing a blank today.
An accountant?
An accountant, yeah.
Sure,
going from criminal law attorney to an accountant, a CPA overnight. Like, it's just terrifying.
Yeah. Or I even think moving to a new town.
Quitting a job, getting out of a relationship you should have, getting into a relationship that has come up. There's so much change. Losing a loved one.
That's where it gets
ending
tough.
a toxic friendship.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
I'd even say, it could even be like, loss of your dog or something.
Loss of an animal, loss of something you care about.
Or your relationship that turned bad. You're friends with someone for a long time.
I've got a friend, it's going to sound weird, achieving what you've actually been trying to achieve.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because you were working for it for so long, and then you have it, and you don't know where to go from there. It's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
It's terrifying. It's almost like a loss, because you worked for so long to get to this thing, and then you finally get to it, and it's cool, I'm here. What now? Like, it was such an effort to get there.
Right.
To get to whatever the achievement is. And then you achieve it, and you've been pouring your heart and soul and effort into it, and then you have success, and that flash in the pan of success, the parties and the get-togethers and the good for you, rah rah, this is great, you did a great job, and then
the reality
what?
of it.
And then you just have it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm not used to this. This is a new experience.
I don't know what to do now because I put all my effort into this. Like, what's the next thing? It almost becomes, if you're not careful, it can become the adrenaline chasing, like the chasing the high, right? Trying to find something new to conquer.
Well, and I think one thing that I kind of went through, you go to school, or you go to college, right? You graduate, you got your degree, which is awesome.
Yep.
And good for you, put the work in, but your resume is not built up yet.
Right.
So you got to build up your resume. You're not in the job that you want to be in right now immediately with your degree. That's because you got to work your way up to get there. And a lot of people are unwilling to take that.
See, and I have the polar opposite of tons of work experience, been working from a very, very young age.
They just want
yet very little college because couldn't afford it. And it's, you're the perfect candidate. You've got so much, we need a bachelor's. And it's like, I literally can outwork the entire roster you have and have experience in this thing, but you won't even touch me because I don't have a bachelor's, a piece of paper. Like, really? Even though I'm usually, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I have either the work experience in the area, more, I can hit the ground running a lot faster than the candidate who's just out of college. And the same thing with vice versa, right? You're going for something that has to have education, but you have no, you have to get a loan to have loan experience, but you can't get a loan without loan history. Or you have to get a loan to get loan history, but you can't get a loan without loan history. It's that constant endless cycle.
Oh yeah. Well, and and I think when you get out and you have that, is it brings out our impatience.
Oh, absolutely. Because, well, we're instant gratification culture now.
Yes.
And Western culture as a whole, and I would argue world culture as a whole, but Western culture especially as a whole is instant gratification. I don't want to go get my food. I want to have it delivered to me. Yeah. I'm going to set up DoorDash 2 days in advance to have my chicken wings exactly when the hell I want them.
The effort is just too much for you to put into something.
Look how many people don't cook at home.
Oh, I know.
Don't cook at home. I keep my cooking skills up. I relish. I cook more at home than I do eating out, ever.
I was doing so damn good last summer. Yeah. And then when things got busy again and I'm on the move all the time, it was the convenience of it. And I go and I sit and I look back at it and I was like, man, I need to get my ass back to the grocery store and hit the produce aisle and start buying some veggies and start cooking again.
And it's honestly, is it a pain? Like, if you were to...
It's fun once you get a routine of it.
It's fun and it's easy. It truly is easy once you get a routine down for it. Like, if you don't know how to cook, life lesson, learn how to cook. Yeah, it's better for you. It's cheaper by a lot. Like, people, veggies are so expensive. And they can be, depending on where you're at. But ultimately, frozen veggies are pretty cheap. And guess what? Frozen veggies are more nutritious typically than fresh ones because they start breaking down the nutrition and fiber.
I've had some luck in the fresh produce section.
Oh, you can find good deals. People just go. Here's the problem. Most people who say veggies are too expensive or healthy food is too expensive, they don't shop around. They go to one store in their local neighborhood that's like a Whole Foods, which is the highest food cost prices or food prices of any grocery store. Yeah. And they're like, I can't. Lettuce is $16. Cool. Go to the grocery store down the street that's not Whole Foods, and it's $1.30, buddy. Yeah. Like, shop around and you'll find it.
I love when I catch a good deal.
Or go to a farmer's market.
You do a farmer's market, but heck, even our stores in here in town, heck, I've been scoring on all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Shop the sales, man. We rotate between 3 or 4 different grocery stores in town and be like, there's a sale here, there's a sale there.
I was going to say, I go to 3 different grocery stores when I go shopping.
Yeah.
But that takes effort, Zach.
Well, yeah.
Why would we put effort?
Because we want instant gratification. Just like Walmart. Walmart pickup orders. I hate picking up. First off, I hate Walmart.
You never know what you're going to get. You get a
I
box
don't want someone to shop for me. Maybe it's me being too much of a control freak, but I want to go pick out the bananas I want. I want to go pick out the lettuce that's not wilting. I want to go pick out the bell pepper that's not squishy.
Avocados that aren't brown.
Yeah, avocados that aren't brown. I want to go pick. Avocados are a good point. If I'm going to pick avocados up for the weekend, I don't want them to be ripe now. I want them to be ripe in 4 days,
exactly,
or 5 days, or whatever. So I'm going to pick. Depending on the situation, I'm either going to pick the ripest or the least ripe. I'm going to pick the juiciest lemon or lime, but not the one that's the hardest, but also not the one that's the biggest because that also is going to have less flavor.
Right.
I'm going to find that middle, that perfect Goldilocks one, right?
Well, and I think that's you know what you want, you go for it.
Yeah. Welcome to our TED Talk on grocery shopping. Anyway,
yes, but. Hey, it's good for them to know about that stuff.
Life skills.
Yeah. The groceries are out there, man. Go get them. Hit that produce section.
But it goes back to
start steaming them
joy
veggies.
From sorrow, right?
But yes, I think with our sorrows or those things that we lose, right?
Yep.
We become so attached to them, it's hard to let them go. And I think everyone's been in that moment in life where a loved one left or a job didn't go through or you rightfully should have had. Or
promotion got passed over.
Or regrets that we might have and hold. And a lot of times we carry extremely heavy burdens. And I'm guilty of it too. And it takes time to come to that understanding to realize that.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you get around someone that's super emotional and so down and the grief and sorrow have just got the best of them and they start overthinking things. Well, what if this and here and that? What if this and that goes here? And it's like, it's so hard to get someone out of that. It was hard for me to get out of it a couple times throughout life. And it's like, when is that point going to come? But like we said, we want it immediate. We want it now. We want that instant gratification. Well, gratification doesn't come that quickly. It comes with time. And if you're not patient enough to allow that time to happen, I say time heals everything. But you need that time to understand, because until you fully understand why things happen and you fully accept them, we're going through the stages of grief. Is that what it is? Is there like 6 of them? Denial.
I think there's 5, right?
Uh-huh.
Denial.
Acceptance is
Acceptance is the last one. I don't remember.
There's grief.
There's stages of grief. There's multiple stages of grief.
Yeah.
Don't quote us on it. Google it. You'll figure it out.
Always, and I
Denial, bargaining. Bargaining's 1. Bargaining's 2 or 3. Then acceptance is last.
Right.
I don't remember.
Well, I think when it's just grief of your own, that doesn't really affect others. Like if you had kids or something,
right.
or someone that you lived with, roommate, someone you took care of. I think then it's different then, because then it's not just your grief, but then you always sit and think, well, how are my kids going to turn out like this?
Well, you have something else to focus on. And that's the big thing is a lot of people, and there's an argument to be made about it being healthy or non-healthy to have something else to focus on, because you're never really facing the thing that's bothering you. But there's also an argument to be made that maybe the healthiest thing you can do is put a positivity, or focus on something positive instead of something negative. I've heard it both.
Look at it from a different viewpoint.
Yeah, I think it's a little column A, little column B. I think you have to face what's bothering you, because if you never do,
it's going to continue.
It's going to continue to fester like a wound, and it will eventually crop up. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, may not be 10 years from now, but it's eventually going to crop up. Right. If you don't face it head on. I'm a big rip the Band-Aid off person. I like, if there's an uncomfortable situation that I have to deal with, have a conversation with a friend that's not going to go great. Have a conversation with my wife that I know is going to end in a fight or misunderstanding. And don't get me wrong, my wife's a saint. She doesn't fight with me. But something like that, right? Like have a conversation with a coworker or a subordinate that they might potentially quit over. I might have to write them up over, or whatever, right? Whatever the thing is. I like to just get it done.
Yeah.
I don't like it hanging out there, because to me it's like a weight around my neck.
Well,
I hate, and it's like it puts a pit in my stomach, and I just want to get it done. If I mess up and have to go to my boss about something and go, "Hey, I did this thing. I'm an idiot." I legitimately will start the conversation off like, "Knock knock. Hey boss. So I made a mistake and I'm stupid. I just want to preface that. And I was in the wrong. Here's how. But here's how I fixed it."
Let's clear the elephant in the room here.
Just get it done.
Well, and I think when we hold that shit up inside,
oh yeah, it's toxic.
The anxiety of the situation builds, and it continues to grow and grow and grow. And I think that's a lot of times when you see people lash out or something. Some are more forward than others, but you just got this sleeping little giant. You just, nope, just gonna, okay, sure, whatever. I'm gonna sit it, let it here grow and grow and grow until I can't sleep at night. Or I'm angry all the time. I can't function at work. I got headaches all the time. The anxiety's there, and it's real.
Oh yeah.
That shit
anxiety can greatly
it's real, and it can get you.
It can panic attacks are a good example. I from my understanding, I've had one panic attack my whole life.
I've never had one.
Well, I didn't know I had one. It woke me up from sleep, and it was during a very tumultuous time in our life.
Maybe I did have it.
I called 911. I thought I was having a heart attack. I had my wife call 911 and met the ambulance outside. This is years and years and years ago, and it was a very stressful time in our life with one of our children, and some stuff was happening. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was difficult. And I woke up not being able to breathe and thinking I was having a heart attack. And I went out and they ran my EKG, and they're like, "Dude, you're fine, man. You're okay." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "We're pretty sure you're having a panic attack." I'm like, "What is that?" I never knew, and I haven't had one since. But it was terrifying. I thought I was dying.
Well, I think sometimes if you have a nightmare or something like that, and then all of a sudden you wake up right after that nightmare. And you're just sitting there and like,
freaking out, and
where am I? Where am I? What's my pulse? Where's my dog? Where am I?
It's terrifying, man. The human body can do, the mind can do so much.
It's very tricky.
So much.
Well, and I think in the rough times in my life that I've overcome a great feat, it's always taken time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think after my first marriage ended, that was a good year and a half.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, and I think one of the hardest things, and then even last summer, went through some unfortunate circumstances, and I think in those moments where you sit there and you're panicked. It's like, well, I got to take my mind off this. I got to do something. But I always kind of come back to home base and be like, okay, here's things I got to definitely make sure that I'm doing when I'm in that situation where I'm feel anxious and worried. Make sure I'm eating.
Yep.
Make sure I'm drinking water.
Yep.
Go get some exercise.
Don't shut yourself off from everybody.
Yes. Find a way to maybe go sit and have coffee or go sit and have that beer or whatever. You know, it's making sure you're taking care of home base. Make sure your responsibilities are done.
Yep.
You know, give yourself some quiet time. Maybe watch a movie you hadn't seen before, and you got to kind of force yourself to do those things.
Absolutely.
But you always do that self-check. Like, I'm going through the shit, but as I'm going through the shit, I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna do what I can to get sleep at night or take a nap during the day. I'm gonna go get some exercise.
You still have to function.
You still have to function because it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. You're gonna wake up for the next couple of weeks feeling like shit. Sometimes maybe the couple months. Yep. Please, God, don't let it turn into years.
Right.
Don't do that to yourself. And, you know, I think whatever it is, you find your niche. If it's going for a walk, go for that walk. If it's reading a book, read that book.
Yep.
If you're someone who likes listening to music is the greatest thing in the world, I think, to find an escape from
I'm
life.
not going to lie. There's times that you just got to... I like driving and music. Those things go hand in hand with
It's a perfect one.
And... Mm-hmm. There's times where I just want to I'll just go for a drive just to listen to music in the car because it just hits different.
Yeah.
I can't be home listening to it. I got to be in the car, radio cranked, and just pick a direction and go.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's therapeutic. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
You know, the old term, misery loves company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people take that as, or I would think a lot of people take that as like, oh, misery loves company. So miserable people like to make more miserable people. And that is partially true.
Yeah.
That is partially what that means. I think the other thing it means, though, for me at least, is when I feel bad, I find shit to feel bad about. When I feel bad, I want to find more things to feel bad about.
What else can
like
we add
the
to
rare
this
times in my
pile
life
of
that I have
stink?
cried, because I'm not really a crier. I don't really... I've never been a crier. But, and not that it's not okay to cry. It's perfectly fine to cry, especially as a man, you should.
Yeah.
But there's been times, like, every now and again, I hit a point where I just need to cry. Right. I need to just have that ugly cry, snot, gross, disgusting. So I find shit to be sad about. and if I hit it, I'm like rolling down. I'm like, what else can I? Where's the nearest ASPCA commercial I can watch to just bawl to?
No kidding.
Right? Like, what else can I? Who can I call that will just make me sad?
Yeah.
Because I need to cry right now. What can I dredge up from my memory that will just make me weep?
Right.
Because you just need to get it all out, and you need to baseline yourself at zero.
And it's almost like you eliminate that pit in your stomach when you do that, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you sit and try and hold that shit in, and
it just builds, man. It builds,
like we've talked about here,
and it comes out at the wrong times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like we talked about our ego.
Oh yeah.
That was one of our very first episodes.
I think that was our second or third.
It was the second one, I think. Yeah. And we were talking how heavy our egos are, and we're so staunch, and we did everything right, and I've done nothing wrong, and it was always someone else's fault.
Projecting and deflecting.
There is never an instance in our lives where we were completely flawless and clean of everything.
No. Something you did led to this point.
Yeah. And if you have that self-righteous attitude and that ego sitting there thinking,
you're never going to learn.
I have never done anything wrong. You're never going to learn. Mm-hmm. You're going to tarnish relationships, future relationships you're going to ruin because you didn't take the time to learn it. But, oh no, I never did anything right. God be my witness, and I'm here, and I know Jesus loves me, and Jesus doesn't love you. And I was like, well, I'm here to tell you right now, man, Jesus loves everyone.
Right.
But I've met people like that.
Oh, yeah?
And they just...
Well, because they can't take accountability.
No.
The word of the day, people. Sesame Street, accountability.
I like it. And then some people just be like, well, why? Tell me why. What was wrong? And then they'll sit and tell you why. Well, because that was this.
And they make an excuse while you're telling them.
Yep. Like, no. Just accept it that something is wrong.
Accept that you messed up somewhere. Relationships are a great example. You were talking about your ex, right? Objectively, I knew you during your time with your ex. And I was squarely in the middle of helping you through that. And so I got to see firsthand how that was. And we're not going to dive into it here because that's personal information. None of you need to know. But objectively, that would have never gotten to that point if you would have never chose to date her and then marry her and then be with her and then let a lot of things go for a long time that should have not been allowed to let go for a long time, and then eventually came to the point of, well, this isn't working, we need to have a divorce. Just because she was very much in the wrong, and I want to make that clear, she was very in the wrong, outside looking in, you still had a part to play in it.
Oh,
and it would have never gotten there if you would have not allowed those things to go that way. My previous relationship, I tried to marry a woman who was wholly wrong for me. And my solution for it was trying to marry her, was to make it all better, was trying to marry her. Dumbest thing I ever did. Thank God we never got married, but I very much could have been in the same similar situation. And
getting married is always a right.
And I was being stupid and not paying attention to, person A is completely incompatible with me in every freaking way, but I'm going to still try to force the issue because by damned, I'm not going to be wrong.
No.
That was the whole point behind that relationship was it reached the point where I didn't even like her, but I was staying with her because by damned, I wasn't going to be wrong. That was the whole point.
Right.
Looking back now, I was an idiot. I can say that now. I have a wonderful wife. I have a wonderful family. I've made correct decisions moving forward and learned from it. But back then I was a young, dumb man and decided, this one who I really don't like very much. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, and I think, especially in mine, it didn't work out. And of course, I don't have any hard feelings. No. I don't hold any grudge. I want the best.
Way past it.
Yeah, I want the best for everybody. And that experience is what shaped me who I am.
Right.
Today.
Yeah.
I'm still growing. I'm advancing.
You would not be the man you are today if it weren't for that.
I'm at the highest pinnacle of my life right now, I feel, and I'm still rising.
Yep.
And you got to take a look at every experience as a blessing, and you accept it, and you accept your wrongdoing, because that grief and that sorrow is what comes from that regret that builds up. And if I could have done this, and why didn't we do this differently? It's just at the end of the day, it's like it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I like to think that, and when you're young and you think you got it all figured out.
Young, idealistic. And
yeah, it's like, well, this is all kind of making sense here and this is all falling into place. Well, maybe, heck, why not? That situation, and it's not puppy love by any things like that. And you sit and think, well, I'm in love. What's the next thing you do? And you get love, you get married.
Yeah.
Test that love.
Yeah,
man.
Absolutely. Challenge it. You have to have
challenge.
You have to challenge relationships. I'm not even just going to say, I'm going to counter that with not even just love. You have to challenge relationships.
Yeah.
Friendships that have never had strife. I've watched them. I've had them happen to me. Crumble. Yeah. I have had friends and seen firsthand people have friends that their relationship was always surface level, never had any struggle or strife, never had any real cost to it. Nobody ever called to help them move out of a house. Nobody ever called to talk about something when they were depressed. Nobody ever said, hey man, I really need a beer. I need to go talk with somebody. Are you available? I've seen relationships like that, friendships like that have completely failed the minute that got put to it because, you want something from me? Right. You need something from me? I'm not about it. It's like, you're not a friend. You're an acquaintance.
Yeah.
You're a dude I know.
Yes.
You're not somebody who knows me. You're a guy I know. Yeah. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
And that you have to have challenges in relationships of any sort, friendships, marriages, whatever, because it strengthens it. And it tests it. Tests those bonds.
Exactly.
You have to.
And I think, hopefully you pass that test.
Yeah.
And it elevates you and brings you up. But if the test keeps failing, and the more you try and push to make it to work, there's not a thing you can do. There's not a thing you can say. There's not an action you can do. You could feed the poor hungry kids.
Yep.
You could adopt and but
it doesn't fix anything.
And what's the word I'm looking for? Adoption. Foster dogs.
Yeah.
You could become the biggest sweetheart.
Yeah. Mother Teresa.
You could be the biggest sweetheart on the planet. Nothing is going to change that, and that can be hard to accept because I think that's where that grief comes in, that ego comes in, and it's like, oh man, am I going to continue to sit here and point the fingers or the blame, or am I just going to sit here and call, hey, you know what, a spade is a spade?
Right. Sometimes people are just incompatible, friendships, relationships, whatever. Sometimes things are just incompatible. One of my favorite sayings that my grandmother has said for years is, and it's kind of counterintuitive because things that don't cost to get aren't worth it. things that are free, right? Like relationships that don't cost to get them typically aren't worth it because they're surface level. However, they also shouldn't always be a fight to keep.
No.
One of the things my grandma has always said is whatever you have to fight to get, you're going to have to fight that hard, if not harder, to keep it.
Mimo?
Yeah, my grandma. Yeah. You whatever you get, no matter how hard you fight to get it, you're going to have to fight that hard, if not, and potentially harder to keep it. And that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, but if you are trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with a career, you pick a career and you have this idea that you want this career and you just can't get it.
Right.
Like maybe you're not smart enough. Maybe you just don't have the skill set for it. Maybe you want to be a bridge engineer and you just can't get trigonometry. Would that be? I'm too stupid for that.
Calculus.
Yeah. And you just can't. You keep failing calculus and failing trig and failing areas and those things that are a requirement for that job, legitimate requirement for that job. And you cannot do that job without them. Maybe it's time to look at a different job that maybe does similar stuff.
Yeah.
But without that piece that you can't do.
Perhaps the force of the thing that makes things be impossible is telling you,
hey, this is not for you.
But there's something better for you over here.
There's something that you mesh better with.
Yes.
That would be as fulfilling, if not more. That's something I struggle with a lot. Is I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had the opportunity to do a lot of things in my life through circumstance and opportunities popping up. And I've worked in some very difficult industries. And I've excelled at those industries. But I've also never wanted to be in those industries. But I was good at them. So it's like, what's important? Should I be in those industries, or should, even though that I excelled in them, or that I was just never happy, find something I'm happy in?
You're a pretty good cook.
I am a pretty good cook, once upon a time. But things like that, right? Like, yes, I keep those skills up. That's why we get to the cooking a lot. Was a chef once upon a time. Still kind of am. But, it's important, though, to know your area. It's both important at the same time, I should say, to always strive to be the best you can possibly be in whatever it is. And always push yourself to do something different. Always push yourself to do something that challenges you. Not different. Different's the wrong word. Push yourself to do something that challenges you. Because as people, as human beings, we should be challenged constantly. You have to have a mission. You have to have a drive. Right. However, understand there are some things that you are not going to be good at. And be okay with that.
Yeah.
You have to be okay sometimes just being okay in your world.
You mentioned that.
I will never be a computer programmer. I am technologically stupid. I barely understand how my phone works. I will never be that. So guess what I'm never going to do? I'm never going to go try to be a computer engineer of some sort or a programmer or something, because I will fail miserably at it. The most I can strive for is being mediocre in that. Why would I waste time and effort and energy doing that when I have, A, I would never be good at it. B, I take no joy in it at all. It bores me to no end, and I will never take joy in it. Right. And C, to me, it's a waste of time. So why would I do that when I can pour into something like, let's take woodworking. I'm pretty good with my hands. I can think like that. I like design. Why would I take the effort to do this thing A that I can't stand and never want a part of, when I can take that same effort and roll it over into thing B that I still may not be the greatest at? I still might be just mediocre, but I actually like doing.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I think, we're kind of, when we think of our ego, it's like, oh, I want this so bad, and here's my goal, and I'm going to fight like tooth and nail to get it. If you're doing that, make sure you find success while you're doing it.
Right. Even marginal, just baby steps.
Yeah,
something.
Even if it's something small that shows you've elevated to that level. But if you seem like you're going backwards or something doesn't feel right, and I'm never quite attaining that level, it's like playing frickin' Tetris. Remember old Tetris?
Yeah, I remember Tetris.
Jeez, dude, you get past level 3 or 4. Man, this is awesome. 5 or 6, I couldn't play the damn thing.
Right.
But and I think everyone gets carried in their own ways, and they have their wants and their desires and how they expect things to happen.
Yep.
But when you see yourself, not challenging yourself, when you see yourself not calling out your own BS and accepting things that, well, this didn't go well, and right, you should be looking at it as, well, where perhaps did I go wrong, or if it was a relationship, where did we go wrong?
Right.
To find and discover where that cancer was, because if you don't understand that cancer and you don't redirect that back on yourself and back, where was my part in this? Where I went wrong? Something went wrong, and it was on your part. It's going to happen.
Yep.
But I think what is cool is if you can notice it, identify that, and just be like, you know what, this sucks. Yeah, I don't like it, but I can see where my part here was where I did wrong.
Yep.
And if you don't find a way to manage that or fix that, holy smokes,
you're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over
You're
again.
going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I think that's why so many people get into second marriages and third marriages. Mm-hmm. And like with me right now, with my girlfriend, it is not a race or a rush to see who can get married again next.
Right.
And it's your timing. It's not their time. You can't compare your relationship to other relationships. You and I talked about this. You can't compare yourself to other people.
No.
Some people have accrued wealth and do all these other things. Trust me, they got their problems and issues. Just because you're not that person or have elevated at that level, that doesn't mean you're not a good person. It's not you're an integral person. That's just not who you are, and that's okay. But don't start.
That also doesn't mean you're always going to be where you're at either.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you haven't achieved or attained. I've got friends who are so much more successful than me, in a lot of areas.
There could be things that they think you're more successful.
So I was going to get into that. I've got a buddy who is very successful in his career, mm-hmm. and he's highly intelligent. He does amazing work. I am so proud of him for how far he's come and how much he's been able to succeed. But, and not to diminish his successes at all, he's unmarried. He has no children. He doesn't have a house by choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what measures success? Right?
True.
Does he have more money than I do? Absolutely. Is he more successful at his career than I am? Yeah, I would say so. He has achieved more. He has more positivity on his resume than I have. Whatever the thing is. But I have just as much success in life mm-hmm. that may not those credits may not transfer because they're different things.
Right.
But I've been successful in other ways, Right.
Well,
and don't get me wrong, I'm not unsuccessful in my career and all that. I'm just saying, comparatively, right?
Yeah.
You start comparing notes to people, someone will always fall short in something, right?
Exactly, and then that's where grief's going to come in and attack you.
Grief and envy.
Envy
is robbed.
And that's and that's where greed settles in, and that envy is not a good thing.
No.
Don't let that.
One of the worst things you can do, using my friend as an example, one of the worst things you can do is that's not the right way to put that. One of the worst things you can do is measure their success for your friendship. And what I mean by that is something as simple as this. You guys go out to dinner, right? Let's say you and I, right? Let's say you are secretly a millionaire and I'm just me, right? So we go out to dinner and you decide to pay. Mm-hmm. Next time we go out to dinner, I will pay.
Right.
Because it's recompense, right? Because of friendship. What would mess that up is, you're successful, why don't you always pay? I'm sorry, that's not how friendship works. And that's not how reciprocity works. And that's not how human beings work. Objectively, factually, you in this scenario have much more disposable income than I do and can easily afford dinner whenever we go out. Mm-hmm. What is my right to expect that of you as your friend? I don't have that.
No kidding.
That is not my right. My right as a friend is, hey, he paid for dinner last time. I'm going to get dinner this time.
He got the beers last time. It's my turn to get.
And if I can't afford it, hey, bud, I'm sorry I can't come to dinner tonight. Maybe give me a couple weeks. We'll go out. I just can't afford it right now. Yeah. And at that point in time, if you say, hey, man, don't worry about it. I'll cover it. I'm going to say, no, man, I feel really bad. But if you say, no, dude, don't worry about it. I got it. Just come out. Okay. I've made that awareness, but by damned, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to take you out and we're going to have a good time and I'm going to cover it eventually. The point is reciprocity.
Right.
Friendship is give and take. Relationships are give and take. You have to have that.
If you're just constantly always doing the giving,
it's a one-way street.
Yeah, it's a one-way street. Or if you're the one always doing the taking, you know. and that's not good. And we can find ourselves trapped in prisons.
Oh yeah,
and that's a scary place to be. You don't
Absolutely.
want to. And when you find yourself trapped in a prison, you feel like there's no escape.
Yep.
There's nowhere for you to go. You build up with regret and envy and
you said prison. The only thing I can think is "My Own Prison" by Creed. And that's what's playing in my head, which is an amazing song. But I'm sorry. Continue.
No, you're good. And and even having a good example of this is having a brother that's in prison. And he's been in there a while. It's taken time for him to come to understandings and find somewhat of comfort and joy again. And even though he did it within prison walls, and then granted there's times where it's still tough. There's still some anxiousness in there of, well, you keep doing things right, you keep yourself behaved, you be patient, you wait for things to unfold, and your parole in that situation, good things are going to come your way. And I think a lot of people need to realize that, because my brother now is finding that he things are starting to click. Things are starting to come together.
He's having breakthrough.
He's learning. He's spent plenty of time in his situation, but in there he's grown. He's learned a lot. I think he's come to an understanding of the way he was and the way he wants to be and his expectations for the rest of his life. And hopefully here in the next couple of years, he'll find some absolution in that and get a second shot at it. But even when you're as low as that low,
right,
and you're waiting to find, well, get my computation so I can get my parole going, and then it takes time to get there. It takes time for your brain to get there. It takes time for your understanding to get there.
Right.
The acceptance of who you are obviously wasn't working, so we need to make some changes here to figure out.
So that's I want to touch on that. You keep saying time. And I don't disagree with you. Time is important, but I don't think time for
or short.
I don't think time for time's sake. You have to have the other component of that as effort. I think time and effort, go hand in hand. Because if you just do time, let's say you lose a loved one, you're depressed, right? You're grieving, and just time, right? And time will maybe not grief. Grief is a hard one because time does help grief eventually, right? But let's just
when you finally learn other experiences and do other shit,
right?
And
like you have to, but just the matter of time doesn't necessarily, because you could just stew forever.
You don't want to do that.
And keep getting worse, keep going down. Time can be negative too if you don't put in the effort to get better. If you don't put in the effort to make that relationship better, end that relationship, build yourself back up. Find that new job. Put yourself out there.
Let go.
Whatever the thing is,
shit you can't control.
Right. Whatever the thing is, I think they both go hand in hand. If you just do time, you just do effort. Both those things can be negative. You have to have them together.
Yeah.
And if they aren't running parallel to each other on your path forward,
right,
you're not actually getting better. You're just going in circles.
Yeah. You may think
forever in circles.
You may think you have got to that point.
Right.
But and obviously once you dive into it and then you find yourself doing the same old crap again, find yourself in that same situation, it's like, I didn't learn anything.
No.
And I know it always seems like we're kind of in a world, we kind of mentioned on this a little bit, it's like, well, I'm trying to one up the next guy. And you and I literally just talked about how everyone's success is their own, everyone's life's their own. It's like being in a relationship. You can't compare your relationship to another one.
No.
Who gives a shit, really, if you think about it? Yeah. Focus on your relationship. That's what matters in your life. That's your comfort.
Right.
That's your morning. That's your night. That's your consistency. And I think sometimes, if you do have that regret out there about something, and maybe it's about other people, and they may not know, go talk to them about it. I think have the courage to go talk to them about it. It's like, well, I don't want to make them worry and all this stuff. And I'm just like, if anything, I think they'd probably be glad that you said something.
And that's exactly it. If you say something to them and they are like, "Why are you bringing this to my door?" They're not your friend, or they're not the person that cares about you.
If they criticize you for it, then just be like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, like if they're like, "Why are you bringing me this problem?" Yeah. Oh, cool. Our friendship was never real. Or, oh, cool. Our relationship was never real. You never actually gave a shit. Awesome. And you have your answer either way.
You just answered my question. Yeah. I'm not going to let this king over me anymore.
Because somebody who cares, like, I've got friends that all my friends I reach out to often. I mean, you're my buddy. I talk to you all the time. But you also reach out to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's a reciprocity thing, right? Like, I have had friends in the past and had people in the past that I was the primary. And don't get me wrong, there are relationships that you're always going to be the better friend than they are. And you're going to have those people, and sometimes those people are worth having in your lives. Yeah. However, as I've gotten older, I've gotten to learn more and more about two-way streets and about a lot more effort coming in or equal effort coming in that is going out. If I'm the only one putting in effort to a relationship, that's not a relationship. That's them having benefit of a friend. That's me getting nothing out of it. And I'm not saying you got to get something out of it. What I'm saying is there has to be effort from both sides of some sort. It doesn't necessarily have to be equal. I'm not saying that you got to give as much or get as much as you give in a relationship. However, there has to be some level of back and forth. Because if you don't have that, I've had a couple friends over the past years that I was the one putting a lot of effort into the relationship. I was the one calling. I was the one making plans. I was me. And it got to the point where I started tapering off just to see what would happen. And guess what? I don't talk to any of those people anymore because I was the only one keeping that friendship alive. That friendship was on a ventilator and on life support. And guess what? I pulled the plug to see if it could breathe on its own, and it couldn't. And I'm like, cool, I'm done.
Exactly. And I think, when those things, as we were talking about earlier, when they come to an end, and it can be hard.
Absolutely. There's a period of mourning with that.
Yes, there is. And, I think when you go through, you can play it over in your head 100 million times. I've done it before. It doesn't do any good.
No.
And it doesn't do any good to sit and hold a grudge and say, you did me wrong this way, so I'm going to do everything I can to even the playing field again. And if you're someone like that, man, screw you.
That's something wrong with you. And you're never going to find a relationship of any sort.
Good luck finding any relationship with that mentality, because you're just sitting there trying to get back at them, or
that's just bitterness.
Trying to win. That is pure bitterness, and that's classless. It shows no integrity. It shows that you know how to cry.
Yeah,
and to make excuses and be like, oh, this wasn't me, this was them. So we're gonna even this playing field here because they put me through hell. So I'm gonna even this back up.
You become a cancer. You become a walking cancer.
Good for you, man.
I like how you said. I like what you said earlier. You become a walking cancer at that point in time. You become rot.
I hope every dog you walk by barks at you.
Right. Diarrhea and frequent sneezes.
Yeah. Well, and I think and I think, you really got to be cautious. Like, you know what? Hey, things didn't work out, and people can be cruel.
Oh, yeah.
People can be really mean and really cruel. And you see bullying in other forms. And I think bullying, I always think bullying in kids. Maybe bullying as adults is probably way worse.
I don't know.
You don't think so? Well, I've seen some adults be pretty nasty.
So I think bullying, when the terms of being a bully is way worse, I think the internalizing of bullying and actually taking it from a bully is way worse in kids.
Yeah.
Does that make? I don't know if that came across correctly. What's a better way to describe that? Man, I'm struggling tonight. Receiving the bullying is way worse in kids. Kids tend not to stand up for themselves nearly as much as adults do when it comes to bullying. I think the bullying aspect can be way worse than adults. It typically is, but the actual cyberbullying is a good example, right? Like I have a hard time with cyberbullying. I really do, because just turn the computer off. I think I've touched on that before. But
the older you get,
you start to as a kid, kids believe what they're saying is true. I don't like you. You're a poop head or whatever, right? As a kid, whatever age group they're at, they start thinking they are a bad kid because so and so said so. Whereas an adult, if I had some dude come up to me that was maybe an acquaintance or friend and start saying rude shit to me, I'm gonna be like, screw you, dude. And I'm gonna go.
You have more,
and break that relationship, but I'm more secure.
You're more secure. You have a defense mechanism built up for those sorts of things, and you're smarter.
So I think the receiving of bullying is worse in kids. I think the perception of bullying is worse in adults. But receiving it from the bully and believing it is worse in kids.
Well, absolutely, and I think when people can be cruel like that, you know. And I think that's when you're definitely honing to your friends, your loved ones, the ones that you know care about you, you know. And I think a lot of times it's, you know, where do you find, you know, this past summer I spent a lot of alone time, and that was the greatest gift I think that I could ever have. It was about 3 months where I just, you know, it was right before we started this. And, you know, I needed time to get away. Yep. I didn't really want to talk to anybody and all this stuff. And people were kind of making things like, "Well, is he okay?" Is all this
Sometimes
stuff.
you need that reset time.
And it's like, yes, I am fine. Yeah. I'm taking some time to figure my shit. Just because I'm not as social as I used to be, you know, just because I'm not prevalent and out and about like I was before. Sometimes you need a refresh, you need a restart, you need time to sit and think through shit, because in silence I think a lot of people get bored with that and they don't have the patience with it. But
it goes back to the instant gratification. I need now.
I need now. It's like, no, you need time to figure your shit out, man. Because there's issues going on right here and it's reflecting on your character, and that's not who you are. And that alone time was the biggest act of grace I think I've ever gotten from God, because it was just him and me. And, you know, I'm a believer. We talked about it on here, and I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. That doesn't matter to me. Each is their own. Peace, whatever. But, you know, for me, in my understanding of how I've lived and grown throughout my life, that was the greatest gift that I think I could have gotten from God, was alone time, processing things for myself, questioning myself, you know. Meditating was a huge piece of that. Going to the gym, going for long walks, reading new books, coming to an understanding, opening up my mind to the potential and possibility of other things that could happen in life, you know, and just having that time reflection, because it's just you battling it out there with God, you know, and in that quiet, and we never take the time to listen. A lot of people never take that time in that quiet. Yeah, you know, it may be quiet in here, there's no voices going. Absolution is going to come to you. Self-reflection and understanding, you don't know quite how it's going to come, because I think it's an experience thing, right?
Very much so. And becoming self-aware, I think, is a good way
to put that. And it's like, you know, now the way I view things is much different than the way I viewed things 2 years ago. You know, and I could even see, and I even had we even talked about this on this show, where I had someone kind of call me out on my shit, and at first I'm like, kiss my ass, so I won't cover. But then again, in that quiet time, I sat and I would think of those questions to myself. Boy, man, you should really rethink this approach to this, or, you know, maybe look at it from a different point of view. I think when we look at things from a different point of view, especially if they're away from our bias, that could help you find a ton of clarity right there.
If nothing else, than to reconfirm why you think what you think.
Exactly.
We've talked about that a little bit on here with challenge.
Absolutely. And I think, well, this didn't go this way, but, well, hey, man, this opens up this opportunity over here. This opens up this opportunity over here. But if you cling on to that thing that's got you so held up and so locked down, and and those chains that are weighing down, and that anxiety settles in, and it's easier said than done. I get that.
You're never going to get perfect at it, right? It's constantly a learning thing, but having that basis and understanding of how to, that outline of how to, will help you greatly.
The quiet and alone time that I think you can get is such a gift, because that's where you understand those things. And you realize that, no, I don't need all these things in my life that I had before. You can graduate from that shit and put it behind you and move on. You know, some people now will criticize me for my long ass hair. I never had long hair in my life. And I sit and I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror now and I see myself for the way I am now. And I'm like, but this is not the new me, because we're always me, you know. But here's the person I am now learned. The person I am now isn't making those dumb, stupid mistakes and choices that I made before. When I look in the mirror, I was a clean-cut kid and always got a haircut once a month and did all the right things and all that stuff. And I sit and look at the way I was. Well, that's how I was back then. That's not how I really am now.
Right.
That young spirit in me still there.
Right.
But when I look in the mirror now, and it's just like
old and wise.
Yeah. That
not old as in old, but older and wise.
Yeah. And my comprehension of things, and I'm more comfortable with long hair me now as opposed to the short hair me that was always trying to impress someone.
Right.
You know, and and I think a lot of people would see that as counter to our traditional cultures and things like that. Who gives a shit? I don't care. But that's my identity and how I've come to know and who I've grown into as this person now. The one 10 years ago that was kind of lazy and staunch and had an ego, I mean, that's who that was. I look at myself now, I look in the mirror and that person's not there anymore. Like I said, that spirit of you is still there, because I mean, you can't fully change who you are.
No, you'll have tropes, right? And you'll revert. Like I dealt with a long time with insecurity. I was confident externally, but internally I was never too confident when it came to certain things, certain aspects, and I've gotten a lot better about those. Right, I've grown and moved on and gotten a lot further down the road on them, and positivity. Oh my Lord,
positively.
Thank you. I have positively moved down my path on those things, so I'm a lot more of a confident, secure person than I ever was. But
maybe that's it. I have more confidence now than I did back then.
A lot of that came from trial and error, right? Like getting confident in my capability in something, or getting confident in my career, getting confident with my relationships, and getting confident with thing Y, thing Z, whatever, right? Picking a thing. Comes with time and effort.
That thing that people don't want to put in. We just want it here and now and let it show up in my face the easiest way I can.
Right.
It's good. It's kind of like, okay, am I going to wake up today and drink some water and take a shower and clean up and get dressed?
Right. I'm going to function as an adult.
Not put the slides on and the sweatpants.
And the moo-moo.
And grab my drink and then go into work or school or wherever sluggish. You actually prepared and got yourself ready for the day. Mm-hmm. You didn't just wake up and on the go and throw some things on and left. You actually gave yourself the time to sit and process. Well, here's how my day's going. Just give your time to yourself in the morning to sit and think. Mm-hmm. And whatever that morning ritual is, find a morning ritual. But it takes effort, though, to sit and think, well, what am I going to put on for clothes today? Which shoes am I going to wear? I should probably take a shower, get myself cleaned up, brush my teeth, have some breakfast, drink some water. Yep. And what I always like to say, make yourself presentable, you know. And I'm not saying you got to go out and dress.
No, but I feel like that's important, is making yourself presentable.
Yes, but there's something out there that's like, man, have a decent looking shirt.
But you're not doing it for other people.
Shoes on. You're doing it for yourself.
You're doing it for you.
Yeah, you're not doing it for the perception of other people think.
Taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can tell us that they don't judge somebody by knee-jerk reaction who's unkempt. Coming in and the hair's disheveled and they're wearing shoes that have holes in them, but not because they're poor, just because they're lazy, or they're wearing slides, or they're wearing sweatpants.
Well, I'm in my pajamas still. I never woke up.
I'm in my PJ still, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, man.
Like, unless you work night shift, which you can tell those people who work night shift. No, we're talking about people who just don't. No one can tell you that they don't judge those people.
No,
they 100% do. They look at them and go, oh God, they're a non-functioning member of society. How can they do that? Those people you leer at and sneer about and talk to your friends about, and you won't believe what I saw today, Martha. Like all that stuff, and it's human nature to do that because you're non-functioning,
right?
And that's a choice.
That is a choice, and and don't get me wrong. Some days you just want to throw on the hooded sweatshirt and whatnot. But
absolutely,
you can still be.
I go grocery shopping in sweatpants and a shirt. I get it,
and you can still be presentable.
Yeah, you can still look all right.
I guess, but I guess there's just something about just putting in the extra effort to plan it out. Mm-hmm. But maybe if you plan on, I'm going to wear my sliders and my pajamas and roll out of bed and grab a Pop-Tart and I'm out the door.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm actually going to get myself collected for the day.
Yep.
I'm going to get my body prepped to learn. I'm going to feel my my body with food. I'm going to hydrate this morning, you know. I'm going to get that quick little burst of energy or exercise that I need every day. Maybe it's taking your dog out for a quick walk, you know, or it's sitting down, you know, listening to music or something that gets you in the zone for the day, that gets you focused and ready to go.
I really think that's the second part of what we were talking about today is finding joy from sorrow.
Finding joy from sorrow.
And we've talked about the sorrow portion, and we're getting into the joy part. We've gotten into the joy part, but finding joy in it, finding the joy from that, finding, you know, oh, you know, my life was so hard, but look where I'm doing now. Look how I'm doing now. Or, you know, that job was so horrible. I hated it, but I looked and found something better, and look where I'm at now.
I like when you can look at the trajectory of it and be like, man, look at the way my life was going, but now look at it.
Right.
You know, and it's always nice. And I think that's a victory right there in itself, is then you can just recognize that, whoa, I needed calm down. Whoa, I needed that thing in life to come to a screeching halt that said, no, this time it's over. We're moving on to the next
It's the Dave Ramsey thing. Dave Ramsey, and, you know, for all the intelligence that he has, right? He's a very smart guy and all that. But one of the things I always like that he said in one of his teachings is find the smallest amount of debt you can pay off and pay it off. Because that feeling and that dopamine hit of doing that,
oh, it's great.
You'll start the ball rolling on getting the rest paid off. And it's just, people look at it and go, oh, well, yeah, that makes complete sense. Duh. But take that same principle and attribute it to your life. Look at what the small thing that needs to be changed. Change it. Losing weight. Weight's something I've struggled with my whole life. I'm still struggling with it. And I make a choice. I've made a choice over the past few years to be healthier. And I am slowly. It's a slow process, and I'm getting there. But every pound's a victory. And moving forward, slowly but surely getting it done and never giving up on it. And even if you stumble, even if whatever, right? What with a smallest change you can make today.
Right. And you're challenging your brain in instances, because we learn more when things are new to us or exciting to us, you know, and that's what I think brings a lot of joy there. Is you do something new, you learn something new, and then that brain gets going and working, and you're creating new neurons, and everything else is processing in there, and when everything's firing in your brains because you learned something new. You know, maybe you want to pick up a new hobby. You know, maybe it's I need to drink some more water. It could just be the smallest minute little thing that can change. It doesn't have to be
socks
big.
Today.
Yeah. I didn't put on my slides. I didn't walk into work in my pajamas. You know, and I think even if it's those, and we've talked about that in here, the small little victories, you have to celebrate them, because there's one thing we know in life: things aren't going to go our way.
No, never.
Shit's going to happen. It's going to fall apart in an instant. You know, so you really got to find joy in those little things. And if we sit and continue to harbor ourselves down, even though it's hard, yes, it's hard. But I think if you're a friend and you notice someone that in instance, maybe it's, and of course we talked about that nagging one that always keeps bringing it up again. And that one, just that understanding when it's just, you know, maybe it's just sitting there having time spending with them. Maybe it's taking them for a walk that day. Maybe it's taking them out for that beer. Maybe it's just sitting and being in a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on, and you know, you just be a pick me up for them.
Absolutely.
You know, just being there, because, and I don't even think necessarily they want you to fully understand. I mean, it's kind of nice. Sometimes they just want someone there.
Sometimes they just need a sounding board
and to give them that hug and that boost, and you sit there and you address it, and you know it. And I think that's one of the cool things. And I'm going to go full on East culture here. You know, I think when we look at our grief and our sorrow in the past, and we yearn for that joy, you got to look at the sorrow and the grief in the face. And you got to stare at it, and you got to observe it, and you got to accept it's there, because it's there and it's not going anywhere. And
unless you make it go somewhere.
And then you sit and you look at it, and, you know, I was just kind of reading this from this one show I was watching. There was this Buddhist guru there, and he's a very, very humble, sweet guy. And he said, embrace it, look at it, stare at it, know that it's there. Smile and wave at it. Smile and wave at it. Yeah, I see you there, but you're not getting the best of me. You know.
Not religion or popular media is the best way to put it. Game of Thrones. I think it was like the first season or something like that. The one dude who is the sword master who's teaching Ariana, the little one. I think it's Ariana, whatever the hell. The little Stark daughter. He says, "What do we say to the god of death? Not today." I always dug that. Granted, it's a TV show. It's not real and all that, but it's interesting because it's acknowledging it's there, but not today.
Yeah,
not today.
And I think there's a song that I like. It's been a while since I've heard it. It's called "The Devil Not Today."
Yeah.
And the hurt and the linger and that stuff's still going to be there.
Oh yeah.
But find a different attitude and approach. And I think that's where it starts, is with attitude. And sometimes it's hard to get rid of that attitude. But I think once we do it, and I think that's where it's good to have.
It starts up here first.
It does. And I think that's where that alone time comes. Sometimes you just need to be away. Yep. And someone's like, oh, something's wrong with him. He's not speaking up.
No.
That's not necessarily true. Mm-hmm. If anything, maybe everything that's right is happening.
Right.
You just haven't been notified of it yet.
Yep.
And if you're a friend of someone, you'll eventually get there and reach out to them to tell them that point. But I think when we're down in those battles and things just aren't going our way, every next new day that comes up is a blessing. You should be grateful for it.
Absolutely.
Anything that you hold dear, it's like, okay, I don't have this anymore, but what do I have?
Right.
What is still in front of me?
We've talked about that before.
Because you don't want to screw up what you currently have.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. About, I mean, 75% of the world, I think, is the statistic or something, or 85% don't have running water. Yeah. Like we can go and safely drink from most of our faucets, and that is very, very. That's a good perspective of it's not as bad as I thought it was. Right. Like, yeah, things can be bad. Hard is hard, but it's not as bad as it could be.
And I think when you know the confidence in knowing that I can do life on my own, I don't need to depend on anyone else. Right. I'm comfortable with this. Now, if you choose to give your life to someone else, that's a little bit different.
Yep.
But I think as long as you still have that confidence to be like, I can take care of myself. If I was fully destitute and on my own, I could still stand on my own 2 feet and do just fine.
Absolutely.
And I'm not afraid to stand on my own 2 feet and do those things. And there's a lot of pressures out there, and mental illness is definitely a thing out there.
Oh yeah.
And I think you definitely want to be considerate of those sorts of things, because we want to find solutions.
Well, there's certain capacities some people just don't have.
Exactly. And we want to find methods and ways to help someone in need like that.
Absolutely.
Well, we always say, well, throw meds at them. Well, sometimes throwing meds at them isn't always the best thing. Maybe
rarely is, honestly. Let's be honest.
Yeah, sometimes that could lead to way worse things.
Yeah.
But perhaps we can become innovative and find ways to attract that, notice it. And if counseling's your thing, go do it, man. Hey, if you find fulfillment in it, go find fulfillment in the things you need to. For me, being on my own was my best counselor.
Yep.
Coming to my own understandings of who I want to be and how I want people to, not necessarily how I want people to perceive me, but how I find comfortable in the things that I'm doing and the actions that I'm doing and how I interact with my friends and people at work and people I communicate with, And I think when you build that confidence up, and for me, it was music and silence and gym and walking and meditation, That was me. That worked for me.
Right. And it may not work for everybody.
And that may not work for everybody.
But find your thing.
But boy, find that thing, whatever that thing is, find it, hang on to it. Because don't sit and live in anxiety all the time. Wallow in it. And I know it, and it can be hard because you just wake up and the anxiety's there. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be there forever if you don't allow it to be there forever. And that's easier said than done. I get it. But the small little victories, as time passes, embrace it, count your blessings, keep moving forward, don't look backwards. There's not a damn thing you do about it. The future's not here yet.
Yep.
Live in the moment and think of all the awesome things that are around you in the moment. And I guarantee you, if you stay positive and you keep taking care of yourself and you find little new things to discover who you are and try this new hobby and try this out, read this book, play this game, that's when you're going to come to find peace.
Absolutely.
And I think when others around you start noticing that glow and that peace in you, and they just see that you're in that zone all the time where you got confidence in you and you're happy.
Yep.
Bad things happen, shit gets me down. I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still
standing.
Exactly. Going Elton John here. But no, good conversation tonight, man.
Yeah,
good
this was a good one. I think it's important. I mean, granted, a lot of the things you'll notice about our conversations here is there's overlaps a lot of times between previous episodes.
So it makes it fun.
And future episodes. But
it gets back to the core of what we're doing.
It gets back to the core of why we're doing this. It's there are certain things that will overlap. It's going to. We're always going to come up with a new topic and a new discussion to have, but there is going to always be overlaps because guess what? The human condition overlaps.
We see it coming full circle. Yes, and that's so true.
The human condition overlaps. It transcends.
Yeah.
It transcends cultures. It transcends everything. The human condition is being human. And there are many overlapping features and facets in that, in walks of life and cultures and how to handle things. And, we don't have all the answers. Some of the answers we give are not going to work for you.
Right.
But we're here to give you a different outlook, give you maybe some tools in your tool belt to be able to be a better person for you, if no one else. Man, we struggle with it all the time.
Yeah.
We're always learning. We're not perfect by a long shot. I am the least perfect person I know.
Well, and I think it's one of those things, if you're going through the shit, don't give up.
Nope.
Keep persevering through it. Find joy where you can.
Absolutely. Always work to find joy.
Learn new things and keep fighting and don't give up.
Yep.
Because when you give up, that's when things go really south for you. And we get in that quicksand and we can't get out of it. But find the joy. If you're in the shit, reach out to that person.
Absolutely.
Find that friend. Play that music. Get that workout in. Love on your dog a little extra.
You guys have heard me say it time and again. If we're not advancing, we're retreating.
Exactly.
And we always need to be advancing. So with all that being said, dad advice. So I think it's your turn now.
Well, I don't know. I kind of just said it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take that last excerpt of dad advice. Always search to find joy.
Yep. Keep
Try
fighting.
to find joy. That is your job, is to find joy somewhere.
If you're going through the shit, don't give up. People care about you.
Absolutely.
And you do have value, and keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Challenge yourself. Try something new.
Like that. Try something new. Well, guys, as always, I am Zach.
I'm Aaron.
Thank you very much for joining us on the Spillway today. We will see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.